Hi, y'all. I'm Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon bestselling publisher, author, and all-natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self-care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Together, we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co-founders of the Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations between us and special guests about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness.
How do we do this?
How do we do this?
Hey, friend.
Hello, beautiful.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. Little Shannon that was waiting across the millennium was wondering what she would be doing now.
Really?
Here we are. Yeah.
Did she ever think you'd be on a globally ranked top 5% podcast?
Not that specific, but you know what she did do? When she climbed up to the top of the spiral part of the playground, I'm on top of the world. And now we are. Now we are. So kind of, maybe.
I love that. What about me? What?
Like when you were little, did you think about, I know we talked about publishing and aspirations before on the podcast, but did you think that you would be where we've gotten to?
No, I wasn't a kid that dreamed big. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just wasn't. Like I was a pretty in the moment.
Yeah.
Playing.
You're right.
It took me forever to figure out what I wanted to be or who I was, or I think my little ADD brain was just like, creative. I knew it was going to be something creative.
Yeah.
And, but I was not that kind of kid that knew what I wanted to be It took me, I think I was 27 before I figured that out.
I'm still figuring it out. Like, this is part of what I do. What about the rest of it? There's different pictures along the journey. So I'm excited to be here with you.
Can I tell you, I have some of that this year.
And I was just on Instagram earlier as we were working, getting stuff ready for us. And I saw a post by April Roberts, one of our guests on the podcast. And she was talking about pivoting and how important it is. Now, I got to go back and look at it, April. I did not look at it all the way, y'all, but that word really caught my attention, and her beautiful dress, of course, right? But it's so important because I feel like that's the way that we consistently do it, right? Here we talk about how to be wise, but what we know is that what you knew yesterday might be outdated today, and what was wise might not be effective. So the only way to stay in the flow of maintaining the wellness is to pivot when you need to. And I'm still working on that.
Right. Yeah. I think about coming off of this 3-week break. I think this is the longest break we've ever taken at Women Connected in Wisdom, which we needed.
Yeah,
and grateful. And hopefully if you were looking for us live, you were able to go back and look at some of the 178 episodes.
Yeah.
And if you did, let us know.
Yes,
and,
that's what I was going to say.
Leave us a review and comment. We would love
let
that.
us know.
And I think about the things, every year before the break, we were talking about how I go back and I have a practice of looking for the good and really, and I'm still kind of in that. Like I did a bulk of it, but also dreaming into this year. Like one of the things I know from some of my teachers is that it's hard for us in January, especially to be making all these plans and dreaming, because this is a time of winter and hibernation, and it's a time of retreat. And, here in America, especially January 1st hits and everybody wants your goals and your intentions and your life planned out and your map and, and our body spirits really want to be snuggled in. And especially y'all here in the South, we're having this winter vortex, or have been across the nation. But we got snow in Atlanta last week, and, we don't do snow.
And that's the difference between little kid Shannon and adult Shannon. Little kid Shannon would have been outside playing with the snow, right? Adult Shannon was great. I get to sleep, and I was resting. I was snuggled up, in the blankets, in my pillows, like I like to be.
Right?
Yeah.
And it really was a time of hibernation and kind of where are we? So I know as I'm rolling out of this break, I'm
Yeah.
still being gentle with myself. And even if you looked at my calendar, you'd be like, no, you aren't. But, really like, okay, yep, we're here at January 15th, which is technically the middle of the month, but it's still so much the beginning.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And that's why I'm really looking forward to April's planner. You know, somebody I met at a networking event this past year. She's planning on being on the podcast, y'all. Not April Roberts, I was just talking about, but we'll have another April, right, in the Women Connected and Wisdom community. And she has a quarterly planner. And for me, as a person who wants to do a planner, who's been talking about it for years, avid planner user, right, wrote about it in our book last year, I am super excited for that 90-day focus. Now, I've been trying not to beat myself up because planner Shannon says you should have had your planner before the New Year's began, right? But what I know is that it does usually feel like it starts at the Chinese New Year. It does make sense to start a little bit later, you know? And so I've really been thinking about you, Christine, and how you do this process that we've been talking about in January. I said, let's be honest, right? Let's be transparent. I said, is Christine late? Are we late doing it in January? No, y'all. Christine is not late because you want the rest of the year to go, right? Are you really going to take whatever block of time you need to really go through the professional and personal stuff through the holidays? Maybe not. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Maybe you could start it before, but you will probably finish it in January. And I was sharing with you guys that I had started writing it down. But again, if you listen to the podcast episode at the end of the year, she was talking about this spreadsheet, and it's actually in the show notes. And what I like better about the spreadsheet than about my color coded journal writing that I had started is the column that you had talked about. Do I want more of this or less of this in this year, right? Did I make money from it? Not that everything has to make money. I don't always get paid when I go to the high schools to speak. You know, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But it still adds value. It's still something that, keeps my heart warm, keeps me motivated and really excited about what I'm doing. So I would keep that in, even if that speaking engagement is not paid for, because I know that others will be. So if you want
It's
it, it's
that
on the show
Jenga
notes.
that we talk about, right?
Yeah,
It's,
it is.
how Stacey Abrams talks about life work Jenga. I think about the same thing with the 8 dimensions of wellness and our occupational wellness. Like there
Yeah.
are certain things, I was trained as a social worker. I have been in the nonprofit world my whole career. And we're used to not making a lot of money.
Right.
And we're used to giving a lot of things away for free. And I love giving things away for free.
Yeah.
And if the electric company would accept my, hey, I did this for free, and you like if there was credit for that,
Right.
like it's that balance, right? It's that Jenga. And so that's why I put that into the spreadsheet to get me more in balance. So because what I've noticed over the years with myself and clients and other women especially is it takes a toll on our health, mental health, burnout, physical health, when we are giving everything away and not receiving things in return. And that could be energy, it could be money, it could be services, but that reciprocity is important for our
And
souls and our bodies.
And I want us to go into that, right? Because we talked about that one of the last podcasts of the year too in 2024 of what I learned when I saw that I was giving my power away and overextending myself and constantly upset and feeling like I wasn't getting what I needed. And yes, you can help people build. That's what we do in Women Connected, right? We all build together, but it doesn't have to be me giving away the bricks of my house. I can help you, teach you how to build a house. You can build it beside me. We'll build together, but it's not me giving away all my stuff. And I turn around and it's snowing outside and I have nothing to, I haven't prepared anything for myself. So really important. Really important. And y'all, today, we usually have a guest. Today on episode 179, we were supposed to be talking about protecting your stuff. And hopefully we will be able to bring this guest on. We'll see if she pops on here. She might. And if she does, we'll have a great conversation. But if not, we're going to be talking about protecting your peace and how we do that at the beginning of the New Year's, how we do that with the 8 dimensions of wellness. And that's what else I was going to say. When you were talking about Jenga, I was just playing Jenga with my brother at the computer science museum we went to. Huge, like the big Jenga, right? I won one, he won the second one. I usually don't like to let little kids beat me, but what can I say, And I would say I don't want it to be like Jenga with the 8 dimensions of
Ooh,
wellness.
okay.
Maybe, so that's why I want to go deeper, right? Maybe with business, sometimes you have to pull this project will kind of slow down. This project is revving up with the timelines and things
Mhm,
like that. Like we just did our
mhm.
3-week break, right? But with the 8 dimensions of wellness, even if you have 3 areas that you need to work on and you're working on one at a time, you don't take the other area out. It's just part of
It's
the
true.
river that's not as full. You know what I mean? So it's like the ebb
True.
and the flow of what you're going to focus on, what you need right now in that moment. And that's how I think about protecting my peace as I'm building everything.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, I've got another strategy and a tool if I can
Okay.
find it here,
Yeah.
because this comes from our dear friend. Well, it comes from different people, but
Hmm.
Cynthia Phelps has
Mm.
been pretty solid in
Yeah.
oh, and I'm embarrassed to show y'all because it's not
Okay.
built out yet, but I'm going
That's
to show
okay.
you anyways.
Yes.
So we're going back to the star
Yes.
chart. We're going
Mm.
back. So for the listeners that are listening and not watching, I'm holding up a month calendar that actually it's a cute little, it's got a magnet on the back so it
Hmm.
can stick somewhere on
Hmm.
fridge. And then it's got stars. And I have see, I'm just getting it all sorted.
That's
I
okay.
have a key here somewhere, but this is honestly my self-care chart. This
Mm-hmm.
is the only thing it's tracking. And
Good.
then you get to decide which pieces. But when I look at it, it really kind of goes with the 8 dimensions of wellness. And
Mm.
what am I tracking in regards to my 8 dimensions of wellness? So I'm having that body of, hey, you know, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Um, and looking at things that worked in the past,
Hmm.
working at looking at things that I've just forgotten. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm so lucky to have all the tools I have and
Yeah.
resources and the incredible people we talk to. And, I forget more than I remember about,
Yes.
oh, yeah, this is a great tool.
Mhm.
So, really identifying, what do I want to play with this year?
Right.
And what do I want to try out? Like,
Right.
there's some staples that drinking water when you first wake up,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
That morning routine is a staple for me, trying
Mhm.
to get sun on my face
Yes.
as soon as possible within that first
Mm.
hour.
Mm.
Stretching or
Mhm.
moving or
Mhm.
doing something in that first hour.
And
Doing and some meditation,
yeah.
right? Or
Mhm.
some contemplation time or reading. Like,
Mhm.
for me, that first hour in that morning routine, and I could track them individually, or I could say morning routine. Like, right? It depends on how you want to set it up. But being consistent with that for me has always been a stress reliever
Yes.
and a
And preventer.
mm, and preventer.
A
Yeah.
stress preventer. And I can tell you, I don't know if saying morning routine would work for me.
Mhm.
It's easy for me to drop off different things and
Mhm.
keep on things for other people. So yeah, what
Mhm.
I've actually done is created a consistency checklist because that's what I'm working on for myself, the consistency, right? All
Mhm.
the things Christine said, right? The meditation, my devotion, the sun on my face is important. I like the first hour. I like how you
Mhm.
said that. Maybe I do it, make sure I do it earlier.
Mhm.
Okra water, kombucha, if I've eaten right, making sure that my
Ooh, wait,
hormone
wait,
rate.
wait, pause. You're doing okra water. We
Mhm.
talked about that at the end of last year. You're still
We
doing it?
did. I am. Yes.
All right, I'm doing celery water.
How do you, I
We
would
need to
love celery.
compare those 2.
And both have amazing benefits, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, and if you want, rotate it, like whatever you want. I think
Mhm.
about um my nutrients and stuff in the day, in the week, and then over
Mhm.
time. So whatever you guys
Mhm.
want to do that makes sense. Celery water is really good. I remember it an old position I had, I was drinking this celery water because we did bulk celery for one of our items, right?
Mhm.
And one of the servers was like, celery water, that doesn't do anything. I said, I wouldn't be sitting here drinking a cup full of celery water if it didn't do anything. He went to go look up the benefits and he started drinking celery water. So I love celery water by itself and juices and stuff like celery,
Right.
apples are a great
Yeah.
clarifier. They make juices and stuff really bright. So
Mhm.
I love both. Yeah.
Right. I had a
Um,
really good juice yesterday. Yeah.
what'd you have?
I was home, so I did cucumber and celery and
Mhm.
apple and a little carrot and a little ginger.
Mom.
Yeah, like, I mean, the yummy stuff, right?
Mhm,
You're
mhm.
like, and I love juicing and my body loves juicing. It's just the cleanup that I'm
Yeah.
like, whew, I
My
do it for a
goodness, I
couple of
know.
days and then I'm like, well, I'm tired of that.
Mm.
So I have
yeah.
to rotate. Juicing is one of the things I have to
Mhm.
rotate.
Yeah.
So,
And it's one of the things I outsource. I just buy it. You know what I mean? Juicing was great when my dad was recovering and he had staples up his stomach when they removed his stomach. And I would say is one thing that helped aid him in getting better was the juicing that my stepmom did. So I loved it. But that cleanup I have not forgotten. And so we just buy it and I
mhm.
live my best
Yeah,
life.
that's good. Right? That's a good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
very good choice.
So, and the reason that I thought, y'all, that it was worth going into juicing and drinks and all this stuff when we're talking about occupational wellness and protecting your peace is because so many different positions I've gone into and even the best people are not taking great care of themselves. You know what I mean? And that's the foundation of you having the capacity to be able to maintain the level of execution that we want to see. So again, here at Women Connected in Wisdom, we talk about self-care, community care. If you're joining us for the first time in 2025, you're figuring out what this is about. And before we pour out, we want to make sure that we're full. And I love how I think it was Iana Van Zant that said to serve other people from your saucer and not from your
Mhm.
teacup. You know, we're so
Mhm.
used to pouring until we're depleted and drilling a
Mhm.
hole in the bottom to make sure they get it and we don't have what we need.
Mhm.
So hydration is very important for me, always being so active, you know, making sure I eat. Christine, I didn't even finish my breakfast burrito before I went to work yesterday. And guess what? Didn't
Mhm.
finish it till I got back. That means I didn't finish breakfast till this morning. No, no,
Mhm.
ma'am. No, ma'am. You
Right?
know, so those things are the type of things I
Mhm.
pay attention to in the morning.
Well, I have been really noticing with myself, with
Mhm.
my clients, with friends, people I'm talking to,
Yeah,
it's a lot right now. Y'all, I'm just acknowledging, first of all, it's a lot.
it
Like this
is.
start to this year has been like, what? We got the
Right,
fires in LA. We have got we're still not recovered in North Georgia and North Carolina from the hurricane last year.
right,
Um, We've got, we lost Jimmy Carter in Georgia, which was a national, I mean, it was a very much a state, but also a national and worldwide mourning. Like
right.
there is a lot of grief and loss on a global level right
Mhm,
now.
mhm,
And then, regional and families, right? And individual. So I was thinking about this the other day. I was actually talking to my business coach and
mm,
I had a really tough meeting and I
mm,
was like, and I had put, not with my business coach, but
mhm,
with a previous meeting. And I was trying to break it down and sort it and see how I could do better and what I could do and how I could improve. And I had prepped for the meeting. So that wasn't the issue.
mhm,
But what I realized I didn't do, because I didn't sleep the night after the
mm,
meeting because it upset
mm.
me.
Okay.
And I realized I didn't clean off my energy. I didn't do
Mm-mm,
my practices that I know how to do when we encounter tough people or tough situations that
mhm.
have their own very valid stuff going on,
Yes, they
right?
do. Right.
Um, and I know those practices and I've done those practices for 20, 30 years, but I'm feeling like the times are calling for them kind of to double down on our practices.
Yes.
So really, I'm even putting that in my calendar,
Mhm,
like a wrap up and a clearing for the day. So I can
mhm.
leave it in my office
Yeah,
or leave it where I'm at
I like
versus,
that.
yeah,
Taking it
versus,
with you.
right?
And I
And that
love
can
you.
be hard when you work from home.
It can be, which is why it's so important. We talk about setting up our environments, you know. I
Mhm.
was talking to Christine, y'all, before we came on the podcast about depending on which hat I have on, those are the tabs that I open. You know, drive is definitely up. The question is which drive. The checklist is up. The question is which checklist, right? And then I have these mind maps that I've been making to make sure that each task in my different positions are taken care of. And so a mind map is up. The question is which mind map, you know? Um,
Right? Can you
and
explain to our listeners if they don't know what a mind map is, what a
uh
mind map is as a tool?
Yeah. So, y'all, I did not Google this. So the official definition might be something different. When I started my mind maps, I thought I need to pull all this out of my head and literally put it somewhere. And so that's what I do, right? As project manager for volume 2 for Women Connected in Wisdom, that included all of our authors, the different steps that we take them through, making sure they get the support that they need, making sure that I follow up with them after that, right? Different things like that. Um, what else might it have on there? It has like all of my spreadsheets usually have questions and answers tab, right? So I just bring up all my questions and then follow up to make sure that I get the answers, but they're living somewhere and I'm not stressing myself out trying to keep it in my mind, right? It might have contact information depending on which one it is. Like as an insurance broker, definitely have different people and, where to reach out to them is the best place to reach out to them. So it just depends on what it's for, how you would build it. But those help me stay organized. And then when I come back to the hat from being it, under another hat or having another hat on, it's really easy for me to step back into the process and know where I am.
Yeah, I think you explained it perfectly. When I was trying to look it up, different people were trying to sell different services. But one of the things that basically the theme is giving your ideas structure.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you can share them,
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's cool. That's
It's
cool.
been really good. Yeah. And so for some people, this might be overwhelming. They're like color coded journals, stars. Like, I'm not doing none of that. And if that doesn't sit well with you, okay. It reminds me of Tracy Reese. I remember one year we were all at Starbucks doing our Manifestation Monday meeting. And she was like, I got stressed out just looking at your planner. And so if that's you, you don't have to color code it. You know what I mean? Do the system that works and then it'll work for you.
I used to be one of those people and think color coding was like too much or too shapy or too over the top. But here's what I know as a creative. Color coding brings me joy.
Yeah, it does.
Like my calendar is full this week, but it's a rainbow of full. And I map in there my self-care and I map in there what is, the different for different businesses or different things. And it also gives you a snapshot or a different way of looking at it to say, oh, wow, there's so much of this color, but not hardly any of this color. Or
Yes.
where is that self-care color? Well,
Right.
like, where's my sweetheart time? Like, that's in my
Absolutely.
calendar,
Yes, it is.
And so, I think all that is, it sounds at first overwhelming, especially if your brain isn't usually geared towards that, which mine
Yeah,
definitely wasn't.
I hear
And
you.
and when you start playing with it, and it's still not perfect sometimes. But the other
Right.
thing I really love is because I don't, I've been on the spectrum and been ADD my whole life. And memory is one of those issues. Like I can give you very specific, I can tell you sometimes about people's life that they can't even remember, right?
Right.
I may not
Yes.
remember their name and I
Mhm.
may not remember the year it happened.
Mhm.
But that's the other thing about tracking, right? With pictures and calendars and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, this happened. So that's the other thing I love about it is I think at my heart I'm a documentarian. Like
Mhm.
I like to document, hey, we did this.
Yeah.
Hey, we were here and we did this. And
Right.
even everyday stuff. Like it was good.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, me too. And what I've been working on, again, going back to Little Shana, I was so surprised. We had this, what were they called? Just cameras, but they weren't, it was a non-reusable camera, right? Like you take the pictures, you have to go get them developed before cell
Disposable
phones. Thank
camera.
you.
Yep.
Disposable. Forgot what it was called. That's crazy.
That's
So
okay.
one time I was on the Ocoee, right, in Tennessee, whitewater rafting, and one of the moms on the raft gave me the camera. And I'm taking pictures, beautiful view, right? The water, the trees, the sky. And I should probably take some pictures of us. That's probably what she wants. That's why she gave me the picture so I could take pictures of her and her daughter, right? Um, and my phone is still like that. It's
I
like,
love
where are
me
the
too.
pictures of
Of
us?
us.
Where are the pictures
Yeah.
of me? It's all this other stuff and the beauty that I love to capture.
My kids
Yeah.
make fun because they're like, "How many rock pictures do you have? How many pictures of trees do you have?" Oh,
A lot.
thousands,
It's
thousands,
enough for Apple to
and
make
flowers,
albums of them among the
right?
trees.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
it's
And
good
that's a good
stuff.
thing.
It
Yeah.
is. Well,
Mhm.
I know it brings me joy. Like,
Yeah.
one of my tricks is when I'm traveling, if I'm, uh most of the time it's in a plane, right, for a couple of hours, that I can disconnect from the electronics in the way of I'm not answering emails or I'm not doing this. But what I can do is look through my photos, right? And either put them in files or just remember or like it does bring me joy.
Yeah.
And I also do the Amazon thing where you hook it up to your TV, where when my TV is like on pause or things like that, it scrolls my favorite pictures, which I love. It can be challenging, especially after the last 2 years I've had with grief and loss. Because,
Yes.
I mean, the other day it was, and it randomly does it. So, like, my Aunt Joan's picture, I was like, "Oh, Aunt Joan, I love you. I miss you." Then it was my dad. "Oh, Dad." I was like, by about the fourth picture, I'm like, "All right, turn on the TV."
Yep. And I had to do that. I had to do that when my mom passed away. And love Warren to death. That was her fiance. And Warren just sent me all these pictures. I said, Warren, please stop sending me pictures. Please stop doing that. I'm just looking at my phone and randomly here's, all these things that I have to control my emotions for because I'm at work or something like that. So I definitely understand.
Yeah, it's big stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't, I hope we have some ease with it this year, but I don't know. We just don't know like what's in front of us. So when we think about occupational wellness, I don't think we've read the definition to our listeners today.
We haven't.
You want to read it?
Yes. Okay, y'all. So at Women Connected in Wisdom, again, we have our definitions for these different dimensions. And for occupational wellness represents living in the purpose, passion, and productivity in one's chosen profession. This includes work-life balance, quotes, right? As a fulfilling and productive professional life is fitting to weave together with a healthy personal life.
That weaving together, right?
And the just like success, like what is your definition of productive, and then what is your definition of healthy personal life? Those are what I'm looking at. And that's what motivated me to do the consistency checklist. Am I actually drinking my water? Am I actually working out? Like, I know I'm not running because of the steps I take in different places. You okay?
Yeah, I was just grabbing my book and I whacked something. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sati may have to edit that out for us.
Yeah. But, and even that, right? Sati, shout out to Sati for helping us. We're celebrating 4 years of podcasting now. And is it 3 or 4, Christine? 4, right?
Well, it's got to be 4.
And I'll say
it's
4.
It's got to be 4 because we were set to start on January 6th when the insurrection happened.
We were. And
we started the week after.
Yep. Which is why breakfast was Monday for the 13th. So 4 years of podcast, right? But when we talk about productive, it's not just what do I do? It's also what is my team doing? What do I need somebody else to do? So that's what I love about being an entrepreneur and building teams and systems is that it doesn't have to be you. What needs to happen, but how can we break that up and, create moments of play. Like you said, I love doing that in work, making sure that it's not all serious grind work, deadlines, tasks, things to do. But also community.
And I want to say on that, even when we're good at it.
Right.
Even when we're good at it. Like, because I know it can flip from it's very satisfying because you're getting things done to being too much, right? That just what you were saying was the balance. I was pulling over our Stillpoint book because we were actually playing with work this week, which was super fun. And Sheila wrote a poem that's in the book about being a recovering workaholic, which I think is really powerful for what we're talking about wellness. And so I was trying to find it in here.
See if you can find it.
See if I can read it because it was it really is a powerful poem when you think about it.
And I've been reading her book, The Art of Grieving. It's actually under the computer supporting us right now, but really good. Like you said, hopefully we'll have a break and get to take a deep breath. But what we know about adulting is that it's constantly something, And so that's why, y'all, when I'm looking at my calendar, adding in the time for me, the time for me and my boo before we know what all this other work stuff is going to look like. We can build it around what we need to keep in for ourselves. And what that means is not doing your nails the week of Valentine's Day, right? Do it a few days before because the nail salon's going to be busy, but go ahead and have that in, right? So I'm about to get my nails done. It'll be 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks, right? Space it out over the year. So I'm spending less overtime, but I'm enjoying myself. It's not as crowded. I'm sure they appreciate it because it's on the weeks when it might not be as busy. They don't have extra customers on the busy days because I'm trying to get in last minute and everything's taken care of.
Mm, I
Mm-hmm.
like that.
You
Well,
found
and celebrating what's important to you, right? Like that you want to do that.
and being ready for it. Because if I'm there and I'm tired, my hair's not done, my nails, like on my birthday, I was so tired because I stayed up doing my nails and my hair, and now I'm at my party tired, but I kind of have everything done. Like, no, I don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
that. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good thing to notice. Yeah.
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shayla Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shayla Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups really. One, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. The story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So
yes,
yay.
esthetician tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, I work with individual coaching clients. I work in community classes and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based, embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. Especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the hashtag partnership power we can get.
Yes. Did you find this poem?
I did. So this is out of the Stillpoint book. This is Stillpoint, a self-care playbook for caregivers to find ease and time to breathe and reclaim joy. This is by myself and Sheila K. Collins. And this is a poem that Sheila wrote, and it's called Prayer of a Recovering Workaholic. May I do today the work which is truly mine to do, and support others in doing their duty as well. May I take short breaks to catch my breath and vary my tasks to prevent wearing myself out. May I work with others in a partnership way, celebrating all of our energies and talents. May I communicate clearly my wants and needs and listen to others from a receptive place of calm. May I trust that my efforts, however limited, will bring, eventually, a positive outcome. Allow me to feel finished at the end of the day. May my relationship with time be a flowing duet. I'm going to pause there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and the other part is on the page before. This is on page 60, which, we work remotely, but I love this. This was a sign. She talks about creating signs for your office wall for basically occupational wellness, but I love this one. Celebration policy. We publicly recognize achievements. We encourage spontaneous celebrations. We know that if we're having fun, we work harder, smarter, and longer. We evaluate managers on their ability to create an environment in which it is a pleasure to work. Employees who spread gloom will be asked to leave.
It is true.
And then this was interesting because this was a sign on the office wall. Celebrate each accomplishment in its moment, then celebrate yourself in each moment. And note to self, work is not the way I earn my worth.
No.
Yeah. Right?
No. And y'all, I'm so grateful for the experience I had moving up and down in the restaurant industry as my mom was sick and I was choosing to spend more time with her because I saw how people treat you differently. You know, when you're a kitchen manager versus a server versus they think you're a host or whatever it is, right? And I shared in a lot of the podcasts. I don't know if it was last year, it might have been the year before when I was listening to the Secrets of Six-Figure Women by Barbara Stanny. And she was talking about the relation of your self-worth to the amount of money that you make. And I'm so glad I listened through that through the really thick part of COVID as I was transitioning and doing different things to remember we're born worthy, right? The 8 dimensions of wellness and us connecting you guys to these resources is for you to have what you need because you deserve to have it no matter what your income is. And so I love how she said, taking pauses in between and moments to breathe and the very task. I really try to do that. You know, if I'm out working on a project or out at a Shalo Glow event selling shea butter, I try not to come back and jump straight into social media and more stuff for the business or something else. I might start cooking and washing the dishes and looking at the household stuff, which is a different type of work in and of itself, but it doesn't pull as much energy because it's not the same type of work. So,
can you repeat that resource for our listeners, what you were reading?
The Secrets of Six-Figure Women by Barbara Stanny. Really, really good book. And I listened to the audiobook. Yeah, it was beautiful. Things that I got from that book again is not relating your worth to how much you make. And also remembering that other people sometimes do that, you know, that gave me a lot of clarity, right? The importance of community and the people that you have around you. And I was really, you know, and have been celebrating Women Connected in Wisdom and our Manifestation Monday group, our, you know, tribe that we've walked through so many different things with now. I don't even know, you know, how many years it's been since we've known each other now, but it's been beautiful. And the third big takeaway was making sure that you know your finances. You know, it's eluding me right now whose daughter she was, but a huge brand that is well known in America and definitely had money. Husband misused it, right? And here's the whole situation about even if you come from a background where you're inheriting businesses and money, still make sure that you personally have the skills because nobody's coming to save you. So as we talk about building teams, the way I think about building teams is having a level of competency to train them and trust that they're going to do what they need to do, but also verify that everything is done right. I don't want somebody skimming 10 cents off of every transaction and now they're on vacation and I'm trying to figure out why I didn't pay my taxes, you know? So very important, very good book.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in our show notes for our listeners. What else are you reading right now?
Oh, you'll love this. You'll love this. It's actually by the B2O that you gave me. You remember the book that you gave me by, I don't want to get the names wrong. Bill and something else. But it's the second version, just like you and Sheila did a second version. This is the second version of their book. I believe the first book was Beyond Entrepreneurship. And I'm in the part of the book where it's talking about how important the right people are, right? You can have the right people with a bad idea and it still work. You can have the right or the wrong people with a good idea and it not work. And so that's what I've been working on, you know, seeing strengths and weaknesses, helping people develop those. But also what the book is talking about in this beginning part that I'm at is the transition between developing and then letting go. You know, when do you say, hey, development is not working? Instead, we need a better fit and this is who we need to have. It's been a really good lesson to learn as we build our teams and as we go into volume 3 and everything that we have looking forward to this year.
And you can't remember the name?
No, the name is B2O.
Oh, it is B2O.
Is B 2.0.
Okay.
Did I say it?
Cool.
B2O. Yeah, I said it weird. B 2.0. And basically
That's
it's
okay.
talking about being a new version of yourself, right? This is how we used to be, but this is what we're doing now. And that's where I am in this season of entrepreneurship. We're going on 5 years for Shaylo Glow and the fourth year of Women Connected in Wisdom. And we've done a lot of great stuff and I want to get better at a lot of stuff, you know? So, okay. Old Shannon was like this. She was on a playground on top of the world in a different way. Now this type of on top of the world calls for different skills instead of climbing up the spiral part of the playground, right? Um,
Right.
and so I'm excited to see where we go.
Right. We
Yeah.
have an incredible lineup this year
Yeah, we do.
of guests, and it's I'm excited. I'm excited for who's coming on. I'm
Yeah.
excited for the things we're going to learn and share.
Yeah.
When you think about last year, when you
Mm-hmm.
think about 2024, is there still an episode that sticks with you?
Mm.
Because I know they're all good, right?
They
But is
are
there
all
an
good.
episode that you like think about still?
Yeah. And I think about the ones that we brought up. And I do think Brandy Lee was on as a guest. Was that last year or was it 2023?
It might have been 23.
It might have been, but I'll tell you, and I'll tell the our listeners, right, our viewers, what I think about is Brandy Lee coming on. There was a special episode. I don't remember which number it was. I think it was after 100. I actually don't remember, but it wasn't, I don't think it was one of the first 100. I think it was after that. Um, and we were asking our listeners what their takeaway was, right? How has it been impactful for you? How have you been enjoying Women Connecting in Wisdom? And I was just so delighted to hear that Brandy Lee chose to take the opportunity to teach herself how to hear again by listening to our voices, right? And for
Mhm.
me, I went
Our
back to,
subtitles. Yeah.
right, our closed captions, y'all, and she listened to it on different platforms to make sure that she was hearing it right.
Mhm.
And I immediately went back to Shannon in middle school. And we were talking about this earlier, being able to listen to our voice, right? Listening to
Mhm.
my voice, and it irritated me on the TV, doing the school announcements. And I'm like, why is my voice so deep? It's deeper than most of the guys in the middle school, right? But in that moment, your voice is so deep because Brandy needed to learn how to listen. She needs to learn how to hear again. That's very important. You know what I mean? So I'll take my voice being deeper than all
Mm.
the middle school boys every day so Brandy can learn how to hear again.
Mm.
And then what we talk about with the grandmother, I was really blessed to be able to help this grandmother find some peace like we're talking about today and some understanding that with her 12-year-old grandson, being presented the opportunity to be put in a palliative care, that it was not automatically a
That it
death
wasn't
sentence.
hospice. Yeah,
You
the
know,
difference
that it,
between hospice and palliative care. That
yeah,
was a powerful episode.
what? And I'm working on my chapter for volume 3. And I'm like, wow, when my dad was sick, like for my dad to be sick with cancer and then my mom to get cancer, if palliative care is preventative, if we would have had palliative care instead of me building Women Connected in Wisdom and Shaylo Glow and all these things, trying to help people be preventative because I didn't have it, the family could have had support through that for counseling, and I didn't even know it existed. That makes sense. Like the doctors weren't preventing it, they weren't preventing it, you know. And so that's why I love plugging people into our resources. And those are the two that really stick out in my head. And of course, we love all of them, but again, a grandmother and her 12-year-old grandson, being able to connect her to resources and help Brandy have a better quality of life.
Right.
That's what it's all
Mic
about,
drop. Yeah.
right? What about
Yeah.
you when you think about our episodes from
I was
2024?
I was trying to think because,
Yeah.
such a blur with all the grief and loss and things I went through.
Of course.
I do remember while I was going through it, we had a
Mhm,
guest on that was really talking, and maybe that was the same episode about palliative
mhm,
care, and it was
mhm.
really white when I was going through that.
Yeah.
That was really powerful.
Mhm,
I do think, I loved all our volume 2 authors, and
mhm,
some of them were in 2023,
mhm.
finishing up 2023. I always loved talking to Catherine Bell. Remember, we had her on. Was she on twice last
She
year?
was. She was.
Oh, yeah, the empowered feminine. Like
Yeah.
she rock star, total
Mhm.
rock star. And I think we may have some future collaborations coming up there. But
Yes.
we had so many folks from all over the world, really,
Yeah.
that I just want to give gratitude to. Like
Yes, I'm so
gratitude to our guests and our listeners and our supporters and our sponsors and
yes.
our team. And, I think we ended last year with that, but I want to begin this year with that, with gratitude.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the fact that we set some markers for ourselves last year, some incremental markers, and we met some of them. We didn't meet some of them, but one of our markers, when we started last year, we were at top 10% in the world, and we finished last year at the top 5% in the world.
Yes.
And so, whoop, whoop, whoop,
Whoop,
whoop.
whoop.
So, is our goal this year to get into the top 2 or 1%? What's our goal? What are we aiming for?
Monetization.
Yeah.
Okay, monetization, because y'all, I was not shooting for, I didn't say yes to Christine with the invite to this podcast to be able to say there was any percentage. It wasn't about that. It was about, our ladies are not okay. These are amazing ladies. I'm tired of seeing people get sick and be up out of here. And that is the root of it. So after episode 1, I was ecstatic. After 15, 75, 150, I've been ecstatic, if we're looking at numbers and being intentional of the business, I would love to be in the top 1%. And I think with everything that we're building, it'll get there. Again, what I care about more, y'all, being monetized at the end of the year. And we can stay top 5.
Or both. You're cute.
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I am, excited to have these conversations, excited to get some feedback from our listeners. If you're listening to us, give us a shout out. Like, we know we have people talk to us sometimes, tell us about it. I would love, there was a period when we were having more live interaction. I love that. I love when folks come on live. And I also am fully aware, especially the women in my life right now, are way over capacity. And so they may be listening while they're jogging or while they're in the car or so I would love that. I'd love some feedback and folks giving us a shout out and reviews, because reviews always help on Apple Podcasts, especially, but anywhere you listen to your podcast. And just really one of our practices in Interplay is to look for the good and to affirm each other.
Yeah.
And I want to do more of that this year. I want to be affirming of people in my life that are doing good work, that are doing creative work, and really celebrate that. Like, such gratitude and thank you for doing this, and excited to be a part.
Yeah. And what I want to work on is knowing when to ask for help. One of our ladies reached out the other day, and I've been supporting her over a year on different things and just holding space for her as she goes through these seasons. And that's what it's been about. We talked about reciprocity earlier, and that's what I wanted to say. Sometimes it comes from different places. It's not always a place that you pour into that you get poured into. And that's okay because of the way that it's set up, right? But she reached out, she said, "Hello, beautiful, welcome to a new year. Is there anything that I can do for you?" And I said, wow, I don't even know how to answer that question. And I still need to text her back, So I think what being in leadership has taught me is that I affirm too much. Sometimes this is not a time for affirmation. This is a time for you to tell this person what they needed to do better, and I've struggled with the balance of positive affirmation and constructive feedback, so just getting ahead of.
Oh, speaking of that, I was talking, let me give you a resource on that.
Okay.
Because Radical Candor. Radical Candor, and it's talking about, and let me see who it's by. It's a female author, just a second. By Kim Scott. And it's basically talking about, it's talking about being able to have clarity with kindness and not falling into you're not losing your humanity. You're not, I think especially as Southern women, we tend to go towards the nice side and not want to, but then I'm trying to think about the word, ruinous empathy.
Say it again.
Ruinous empathy.
Ruinous.
Like ruining somebody with our empathy.
Right. Because
we're not having clarity and kindness.
yes.
Right?
because you were undercutting them. Like as a leader, I was undercutting their development because I was not sharing the things they could work on.
Right. So I thought that was fascinating,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it's so we'll put that in the show notes.
Yes, I like
And
that. And I'm gonna
that
look
way
up.
folks can, because it's some tool and skill building, you know?
Yes. Yes. And this B2O book, Jim Collins and Bill Lazier. Yep.
Okay.
And
You
there's a
know we
list of
love a good
books.
book.
There's
And
a list of books I'm reading.
if y'all have good resources for us that you want to share out or you think we would love, comment on our socials or let us know
Yeah.
that you have something you're excited about, and we can give it a shout out too.
Absolutely. And so we're talking about occupational wellness, and we've talked a lot about, I feel like, on the personal side and not necessarily into work. And I'm okay with that because that's how I think about Women Connected in Wisdom, right? The work will take care of itself. There's trainings, there's the systems, there's the teams that you go and show up for and the conversations that you have. But as women, I think that what hinders us from maintaining our wellness, which is what we're all about, talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness, is these parts. We forget to schedule the nail appointment and then we're upset because we're not showing up how we want to. We don't schedule the time with our partner and then work is taking too long and then different dimensions are slipping, or we're mad at work and taking it out on our team. I saw this post yesterday that said, when we do not talk about it, when we don't talk it out, we act it out. And so I think that can be very true, right? What this book you just shared is talking about how to get what you want by specifically saying what you mean, right? And a lot of times, because we're taught to be so nice, we kind of talk around it. And it's like, did I actually say what I want to happen in this situation? And again, like I told you guys, from this message I got from a friend, I'm realizing not only do I not know how to say it, not specifically, I don't even know how to say it. Like, where do you go to find out what you need to ask somebody else? So I thought I was better at it. And I realized it's still an area that I can work on.
It's a good thing to notice, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and to be gentle with ourselves,
Of course.
right? We're
Yeah.
all carrying a lot.
Yeah, we are.
And to be gentle with ourselves, to drink our water, to do our stretches, to take the time for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that I do think to have good occupational wellness, we've got to have our 8 dimensions of wellness all together, right? And yeah.
Yeah. And again, when you say all together, for me, it's not about being perfect or having the perfect balance, because that's why we put quotes on it, right? It's never going to be perfect. It'll be great over here. And then somewhere else in the painting of the scene in your life right now, there'll be those darker colors that you weren't expecting to be there, but when you come to those situations hydrated and knowing that you have a rest week in a week, or knowing that you have a massage coming next month and soon you'll go get your nails done, for me, it's a little bit easier to wrap my mind around it and stay faced towards the fear. Like, okay, I can look at this. What's going on? And just address it, process it, and then keep going, and that could be used for personal stuff. That's professional stuff and how we deal with it. And even though I've been sharing with you how I've been struggling trying to figure out how to ask for help, I haven't been struggling how to have difficult conversations. You know what I mean? So we still have conversations, definitely having those with love and professionalism and courtesy, is important, but being very clear on this works for me, this doesn't, and coming to solutions together is how I've been able to maintain my occupational wellness with everything I have on my plate.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot.
Yeah. So I know we have some things that we have coming up for our guests, but before we start, we have this wisdom in action that we're going to go into. And I had where's my hashtag? We talked about it earlier. And I think it was the hashtag protecting my peace. And what that means for me in this season and where I am is looking at my needs, right? In the 8 dimensions of wellness, whether it's what I need to do for my income, the time I need to make sure that I'm quiet in the morning, meditating, doing my devotional, or if it's physical, making sure that I actually eat breakfast and I don't just take it everywhere with me, me being consistent is me protecting my peace. And that's my wisdom in action for this week. What about you?
No, I think yes to protecting the peace. And I
Yes.
think I'm going to also hashtag calendar it.
Mhm.
Because if it's not on my calendar, it often doesn't happen. So I am calendaring like my breaks. I'm calendaring my time to clear things off. I'm calendaring my rest time. Like I am calendaring it, and I'm making it colorful and fun, and I'm enjoying it and really playing with it and having a good time. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I've been working on. The stuff I do for myself, having, and even the things I do with and for other people, having a good time with it. But really, when I'm planning and looking at everything, even if it's the budget and the money movement, setting up my environment and then trying not to have this adulting, I wish I didn't have to fold clothes type of feeling, but grateful for the things on my plate, grateful that I get to take care of clothes that I can wear over and over again. And, that I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing.
mhm.
Yeah.
You want to give a shout out about a few things we have coming up for the ladies, or should we keep that a surprise for
Yeah.
next time? What do you think?
I think everybody who listens to the podcast should get a little something. So I think we definitely invite them. Y'all, if you have been here the past few years, you know what we usually do around this time is our Connected in Vision, right? Our Connected in Vision party. It's a virtual party where we go through the 8 dimensions of wellness and just daydream about what we want to see that year. Usually we have it around like January 11th. So again, like Christine said, with it being the 15th, and us now announcing it, right? It's kind of different than before, but it feels really good because like we're saying, 2024 has been a lot. A lot of people are working on getting into the new year and getting revved up for the momentum. So we're planning on that being, what day did we say? February 5th. Yes, the first Wednesday in February. We're going to come together and celebrate you guys where you are. We're going to tap in and connect. And then we're going to daydream and see what we are casting vision for ourselves, what we're praying over, and what we have on our heart to bring to fruition in 2025. And that'll be immediately after the podcast to give you guys the times, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will share it when we have the information for the links. You'll be able to RSVP. This event is free. So bring yourself, bring a friend, be intentional about what you're doing this year.
Right. And we often do it to where you could cut magazines and glue it. Like I've already started one of those for myself. You could also do it electronically. We teach you how to do that.
Mhm.
And this year I sent out a little bingo card
Yeah,
to
you
our
did.
Women Connecting Wisdom and Manifesting, and we can share that also. Like if
I like
folks
it.
want to come and be a part of that. And it's just a one pager to where you write down your goals and then you try to play bingo and celebrate with each other, which
Yeah.
that would be super fun too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I thought it was a
we
great idea when I saw
will,
that.
yeah, we will put a link in our show notes for this and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be fun.
And, this we were planning on talking about, but I think this is what Christine was alluding to when she was asking if we should share it or not, y'all. And I will share it first here because our listeners are tried and true, right? They're committed. We're getting ready for this other book, y'all. We decided to take last year off. And as of right now, that's the plan, right? We might pivot like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, but maybe every election year we'll take a break to woosah and, allow everybody to focus on their families and what they're focused on. But we're ready to gear up for volume 3. So we're looking for 24 authors who would love to share their stories about the 8 dimensions of wellness. We won't go into it too much and there'll be more information. If you're not already on our email list, make sure that you go to www.womenconnectedinwisdompodcast.com so we have your email and we'll be sending it out after. But since you guys are our listeners and viewers, yes, I wanted to let you know that we are about to come up with volume 3 and excited to share all these stories and continued resources with you. It's been an amazing journey.
Right. So grateful. and so fun, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to reading people's stories and helping women's dreams come true. So many people dream about being a published author. And so helping that dream come true is always fun,
Yeah.
and it's so rewarding.
Yeah,
So
we have a great
grateful to
time.
be here with you.
Me too. Yes. All right, y'all. So thank you so much as we pivoted and held this episode down ourselves and talked about protecting your peace, occupational wellness. We look forward to seeing what you're doing this week online. Join us on our social media channels. And in the meantime, don't forget,
Be well,
be wise,
and be whole.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.